WOVU LP, Cleveland.
This is Open Door with Vince Robinson. In-depth conversations with people who are making a difference in the lives of others here and around the world. Culture is at the heart of who you are. Know your culture, find yourself on Open Door with Vince Robinson.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Open Door. I'm Vince Robinson, and I am very pleased to have with me Mariama Whyte. She is a phenomenal songstress. She is an actress. She's a mommy, among other things. She's doing so many things, and I consider her a superstar on the Cleveland music scene because, you know, it ain't just about Cleveland. No, she has Broadway singing experience and all of that. So we are blessed to have her with us. Welcome to Open Door, Mariama.
Thank you so much, Vince, for having me. It is my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. All
right. So what brings us together is the fact that you have a brand new single out. You had like a debut of the single last week, and I wanted to get on to see this. I had another meeting, and it was an important meeting, so I had a good reason for not being there. But you put it out there, and I thought to myself, okay, well, let me do my part. Let me help her get the word out about this single. So tell us about the single.
I appreciate you for helping me get the word out. This is a Gift is a song about love, about joy, about freedom, expressing your love for someone in a fun way. It is a R&B soul / reggae song, so it has a lot of different elements in there. But it's a song that I just wanted to put out, especially now because of the time that we're in. We're having such a heavy time, and I wanted to put out some joy into the world. So when people listen to it, from when they press play from the top all the way to the end of the song, I want them to feel good. I love feel good music, and I'm just honored to be a vessel to be able to bring this song to the masses.
All right.
Fun song.
And who did you work with putting this together?
Well, actually, how it happened was I met a young man in 2017. I went to a music conference in Orlando, Florida, and his name is Ronye Hawkins, and we just hit it off. We became instant friends, connected over the years. We stayed in touch, and I reached out to him. He let me know that he was working on his guitar. You know, he was like, yeah, I have some guitar riffs. I said, send me some stuff, send me something that makes me want to be on an island. Send me something bright and fun. My dad is Jamaican, so it's like I listen to a lot of reggae music, and I love that feeling of wherever you are, you can put something in and it takes you to another place. That was the feeling that I wanted. And so Ronye sent me, this guitar part, and I was like, oh man, I love that. Interestingly enough, I had an idea, I had a melody for a song even before he sent that to me, and everything I just wrote probably in about 20 or 30 minutes to the song that he sent, to the guitar part. And then so my friend Brian Golden, B Golden, who's an amazing producer right here in Cleveland, we got together and he produced the song. So we actually, we got together about a year and a half ago, right before the pandemic, and we recorded it. And then I asked my friends, it was just me on the song, my voice. And then I asked my friends also from Cleveland, Stacey Richardson and Donnie Lene, who are singing backup and giving me all that like, yes, yes, yes vibe, And so when you hear it, you hear a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun. We had an amazing time in the studio. So that was the process.
I'm glad to hear you mention your sisters in song, Stacey Richardson and Donnie Lene. I've had the pleasure of working with Donnie before. I've seen Stacey maybe once or twice, so I haven't really gotten into the Stacey vibe yet, but I plan to do that. Things open up.
Sings.
Yeah, but what I really like about the fact that you all have that comradeship that you do is that it's a direct contradiction to certain aspects of the Cleveland music scene. In Atlanta, you have a lot of collaboration. In Cleveland, it seems that you have so much competition that folks they kind of act like mercenaries, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of hateration going on. But so to see you all get along so well together and support each other, it's just beautiful.
We just love each other. There is absolutely no competition. If anything, we're like, what are you doing? We wish we had more hours in the day that we could support each other when someone's out, performing. If we're not performing, we wish we could all be there to support each other. And I knew when I called them, and, it was one of those things, was like, look, I don't have much. I can buy y'all some dinner. I can buy y'all something, but just come on in and let's just have a great time. And that is true. There is a lot of, there can be an interesting feeling here in Cleveland where people kind of feel like they want to do solo, or they don't want to collaborate. What I'm finding though is if you just find a small tribe of folk, and I found my tribe of people that are just open to collaboration, it's everything. It really is everything. There are people that I can just, text and be like, hey, let's perform a song. Let's write something together. And people are open. I wonder if the pandemic has changed that a lot, because I feel like it's beginning to change a little bit. But I'm the type of person that I love collaboration. I love not just collaboration, but I love celebrating other people's work. So that's just who I am. And that's just naturally who I am. So, I love to bring my girls on board, whoever I can bring on board right here in the city. I'm down
Okay.
for it.
So you mentioned B. Golden, and
Yes.
I've had occasion to hear him play. The brother is phenomenal. I mean,
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I look around and I see all the musicians who are in the city, and it's really kind of a quandary for me because, we struggle with this whole idea of paying to hear musicians, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you have a set at a club and, it costs $20 to get in and everybody's all, wow, $20, that's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But then you'll get folks like Babyface and others who come to Cleveland and then,
they find that money, don't they?
$75, $100. What's the difference between somebody like Face and somebody like B. Golden who, has the talent to write, has the talent to perform, and has the talent to present those things on the same level? It's not like you're missing anything. And then you have cats like Walter Barnes, who is touring with these cats, so he's worth the $50 but
yes.
Because he's Cleveland, it's like, oh, well, I ain't gonna pay more than $10 to see this person. And it's really, it's a blow to us who are in the art, who work just as hard as anybody else, but we don't get the same recognition, And then the other thing is, many times they don't appreciate you as an artist until you go away and then you come back. So you went to New York. Now all of a sudden you have credibility. You the same person that you were before you left with the same level of talent, but somehow getting the New York blessing or the LA blessing or the Chicago blessing makes you more than who you really are. What are your thoughts about that?
Ooh, you are just saying, that's a mouthful right there. I think what happens is we get used to each other. If you see somebody in the grocery store, if you hear somebody putting out a CD or putting out a release, but you see them every day. And not necessarily saying that artists are on stage all the time, but people get used to people. And it kind of makes folks like, and it doesn't make it right. I think it just that makes people feel, oh, that's just so-and-so. Oh, that's just so-and-so. But they don't understand. I try to tell people this all the time. The work, if people could see a day in the life of an artist, or just putting one song together, writing a song, going into the studio, getting the instrumentation, paying people, to do one song, people I think would have a greater appreciation and much more respect for what artists do. I really do. And it's unfortunate that it does take someone from, someone like Babyface or someone from, someone we've seen over the years for people to go, oh, I can get my $100 for that, because it's about perception. It's all about perception. People have a perception of, well, if you're still here in Cleveland, man, I tell you this, Vince, I remember when I came home in 2008 to raise my son. And to me, like, I did The Lion King. I toured with The Lion King and The Color Purple. And I had amazing, amazing, amazing experiences. But what a lot of people said to me, some people that I worked with, some people even here in Cleveland, they were like, well, what you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now? Almost as if, and for me, I was coming home to raise my son. To me, my son and being a mother is, I mean, I love what I do. I love, what I do as an artist and what I do as an actress, and all those experiences were amazing. But all of a sudden I had this responsibility to raise and carry a whole life, and raise my son. And to me, that was even more valuable than all the other things that I do. And it actually gave me even more purpose for what I do. And it was just so interesting that people would have that attitude, what are you going to do now? And when I would say, well, I'm coming home to raise my son, it was almost as if it was like, okay, well, you can do that, but you got to get back on the road, girl. He'll be fine, and I'm like, so we put more value in what's out there than what's right here at home. And I tell you, I mean, since I've been home 2008 till now, 2022, I didn't realize I was going to be home for so long. But it has been really interesting while I've been home, being someone who has been, out and had the, the credibility. And so my perspective and my perspective is different, I think, from some artists who may not have had those experiences. But I also have the experiences of being a hometown girl at the same time. So me as an artist from Cleveland, who has been here, who has been outside, I really appreciate all the work that my fellow artists do. And if I can be there, and people know, if I will be there, if I can be there, if I'm available, if I have the wherewithal, I will be there to support, because I understand what it means to be here as an artist, where some people go, yeah, she's great, she's good. And I also have that experience of people going, oh my God, you did Broadway, you did this, you did Broadway tours. So it's very interesting to be in my position, because I hear it both ways. But I think people just, unfortunately, here in Cleveland, and probably other cities too, they get used to people. And it doesn't make it right at all. It doesn't make it right. It's just, it's what happens, unfortunately.
Well, Yeah, I want to co-sign what you're saying and testify. Donnie Lene did a show at Larchmere Arts a few months ago.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there, and that's what I'm saying.
Yes, if I can be there, I'm there.
Yeah, you were there, and not only were you there, but you didn't say, well, homegirl hookup. You paid for your ticket. Mm-hmm. And it's important to support other artists, because that's how the bills get paid. But again, it's like we take each other for granted, and we don't really fully appreciate all the work that goes into what we do. Mariama, fascinating conversation. We're going to step away for a few moments, and then we're going to come back. You're listening to Open Door with Vince Robinson on 95.9 FM WOVU. My guest this morning is singer, actress, songwriter, Mariama Whyte. We'll be right back after this.
You gotta listen, cause you gonna miss it. 95.9, those are the digits where you find good music, good conversation, good information. Number one station, taking over Cleveland, not just for the weekend. 24/7, day into the evening. We keep on feeding you, just keep eating solutions on the radio. That's what we be dealing. WOVU 95.9. Don't miss out, you better catch this vibe.
Welcome back to Open Door with Vince Robinson. My guest this morning is Mariama Whyte. She has a brand new single out called This Is a Gift. It is available on mariamawhyte.com and all music streaming platforms. You can go to Bandcamp and get that single, and she can get paid for it. That's real important. So make sure you do that. Spotify is cool, but go to Bandcamp. Break a sister off a little something so that she can feed that boy that she's raising right now.
That's right.
Yes. So before we took the break, we were just talking about your comradeship with some of the local artists, and you were just talking about how important it is to support the work I'm thinking about your career as an actress and knowing a few folks who are in the business and knowing the work that goes into it. I mean, I've done one play, Mariama. It was a couple of summers ago. I had just gotten back from Africa, and this lady named Molly McFadden, before I had left, asked me if I would do this play with her. So I played music for her. We were singing. Well, she was singing "Fly Me to the Moon" and some other stuff, and I'm playing this music. And then I got acting parts, so I got to memorize lines and all of that. And I'm like, wow, I had like a week to prepare for this performance after being gone for 3 weeks. But I look at some of the productions that you've done and other friends that I have that are actors, and I just see how much work goes into that. And then the idea that you put in all those hours, but you don't get paid for all of those hours, and then there are some folks who don't get paid at all. They just going along for the ride. What's your experience been like as an actress in addition to being a singer and songwriter?
Sure. Wow. So many levels to this. Before I moved to New York, let me go back a little bit to give some perspective. When I was in college, my junior year in college, that's when I decided that I was going to pursue acting and singing. And eventually I knew, I was like, if I can do both, I'll do musical theater. And I came back home to kind of get my chops back up after I graduated. I did a show at Karamu House. I did a show at Cleveland Public Theater. Was there? And then I eventually got my equity card. I got my Professional Theater Union Association card at the Cleveland Playhouse. So, and then that's when I moved to New York. Well, I was kind of back and forth, but then I officially moved back after my run at the Cleveland Playhouse. So I have had, and then eventually did Broadway touring and things like that. So I have had a real journey of what it feels like to do community theater, regional theater, local theater is what we call it here in Cleveland, but it's all amazing professional theater. And it's such a great foundation here in Cleveland. I just want to shout out Cleveland because as a young girl, all the way through, to my high school years and into college, people, even afterwards, people would ask me, do you go to a performing arts school? I'm like, no, I went to Shaker, but also there were so many opportunities in Cleveland just to really hone my skills. So I had such a well-rounded education just being in Cleveland. So I wanted to just make sure I shout that out. Because Cleveland has such amazing resources for artists, young and older. But as an actress, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. People don't understand, and it's most of the time in theater. I'll just talk about theater because it's in TV, it may be different, in commercials, it may be different. But in theater, most of the time you may be performing during the evenings away, you may be way away from your family. And then when you're rehearsing, you're away from your family. And when you're performing, you're away from your family. Right. Also, the hours that you put in, not just the physical hours, but the mental and emotional hours of the work that you put in, rehearsing, really getting into character, all of those things affect you, at least for me. Every single character that I have ever played has personally affected me. So there is an energy that there's a time where you actually really have to you have to shed that as well, because you're not just yourself. You are another character, and to be effective, of course, that takes a lot of work as well. It's so multi-layered. This could be a whole hour talking about acting and performing, but you're right. In the theater, at least, I believe you probably work the most and you probably work the hardest, but you get paid the least. And that's just the way the pay structure is in theater. You know, if you go ahead and do TV, those are long hours too, but you get paid more because more people are watching, you know, and then you have advertisers and all those types of things. It is a lot of work. People ask me a lot of times when I'm doing a play, when I'm doing a show, they'll ask me, you know, like, when's the next time you're doing a show? And I always tell people, like, don't hold your breath. Because to do it constantly, for me at this point in my life too, I'm raising my son. So that's why I mentioned time away from family can be tough, because, you know, you have to get the work done, but I would come home, you know, from hours of rehearsal and I'm just exhausted and I have no time to help him. I have no energy to help him with homework. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know when the next time I'm going to do a play, because maybe after he graduates high school, I don't know. Because it can feel very, very, it can be very exhausting. It's a lot of fun, but it can be very exhausting at the same time too. At the Cleveland Playhouse, luckily I did a show at the Cleveland Playhouse during the holiday season. And so, you know, the regional theaters, the equity houses here, we rehearsed during the day. So that was kind of nice. I was like, okay, I have time to rehearse during the day. And then of course we performed in the evening. So it's a very interesting schedule. And what happens a lot of times is, you know, people will say, oh my gosh, wow, that looks so much fun. That must be so much fun to do what you love. And it is. But I don't know, at this age, opportunities to act and perform, it's nice when I have opportunities to do like a commercial or even I would love to do TV at some point. But it would have to be a time where I'm like, okay, I actually have the physical and emotional space to do that. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work that a lot of people don't realize. Yeah.
You mentioned doing commercials, and, you know, I'm on Facebook as much as anybody else is, and I've seen a few things cross my news feed, and it's Mariama somewhere, and she's getting ready to do a commercial. Talk about how that happened and what you have gotten out of being an actress for commercials.
You know, I really enjoy it. Sometimes when I get commercials, they may not even be in Ohio. It's nice to just kind of go out. Most of the time they may be in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Some commercials I've had have been up in Rochester. Most of them have been here. And some people may see, some people may not see. I did a commercial down in Columbus a couple of years ago. And Dr. E, I don't know if do you know Dr. E Richardson?
Yes.
Richardson. She sent me a text through Facebook. She's like, I just saw you in a commercial. And it's really cool because when people actually see your work before you do, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I love being on set. I like being on set. It's really fun. And it's cool too, because when you make a mistake, you can start over. Now in theater, you make a mistake, you got to figure that out. You have to figure out how to bounce back. I really enjoy that. And it's also nice too, because it's in and out, and it affords me the opportunity to just have more time behind the screen. Commercial and TV work is very different from theatrical work. So it's a great education in how to communicate through the screen. It's very different because, you know, when you're on stage, you have to project and you know, everything is big because everybody has to see your action. Everybody has to see your emotion and your movement. But TV, you may have, let's say you have the same script for a play that you have for TV, but you have to adapt it. So for instance, I may say, oh my gosh, can you believe that? On the theater stage, but they may direct you on TV to go, oh my gosh, did you believe that? Do you understand? So it's kind of cool to be able to mix the two. To be able to express myself in a different way. I would love to do more TV and film work, but it's a lot of fun. And
it also speaks to your versatility. You know, as an actress, you have to create those different characters and you use your voice in different ways. You know, when you're on stage, you have to project because there's not a microphone directly in front of your face. Whereas when you're shooting that commercial, they might have one pinned on you, or they might be using a boom or something like that. So, it's just a different level of technology involved in both situations. But obviously, you're able to adapt to all of those situations and express yourself artistically. So kudos to you for that. Again, fascinating conversation. We're going to step away for just a few moments. And before the show is over, I guarantee we're going to listen to your song, This Is a Gift. But we're going to be right back with more Open Door with Vince Robinson and my guest, Mariama Whyte, right after this on 95.9 FM WOVU, a Burton Belcar community radio station. Back in a minute.
Hi, I'm Sophie Absolutely.
And I'm Love Lachey XO.
Hey guys, it's Chef Vic with Saucer City.
Yo, what it do with your girl DJ Coco Z?
This your boy Lee Tron Twitty with My Smart Home Ohio.
What's good, y'all? This is Affinity with Spellbound Sounds.
Hey everyone, this is Purpose, CEO and founder of Stiletto Boss Women's Group. I love listening to WOVU 95.9 FM.
Welcome back to Open Door with Vince Robinson. My guest is songstress, actress. She's also a commercial actress. She does television. Who knows? Maybe we'll see her on the silver screen. Peter Lawson Jones. Think about it. This is somebody, you might want to think about moving that playwright project from the stage to the silver screen. And here's a top candidate for a leading role in that production, just planting seeds. Welcome back to the show. We just talked about your career as a commercial actress, and I think part of that is also being a voiceover actress as well. So is voiceover work something that you are going to add to or already have in your tool belt?
It's funny. I've only got booked for a couple of voiceovers so far, but it is something that is in my to-do list of things to start to really look into. I do a lot of voiceover for my own work, for my own promotional work that I do. So if I'm doing something independent and I want to, promote it, I'll do voiceovers for myself. My agent that I have here, I'm with Talent Group. That's an agency here in Cleveland. So they, they send me auditions every now and then. And I have to tell this really cool voiceover story. This was actually right when the pandemic hit. And, I can't remember what the line was at this moment, but it was one line that this client needed. And in my audition, I had to say it like 3 different ways. And they were like, wow, we love it. We love it. Like literally, I only had one line I think it paid me like $1,500 just to say that one line. I was like, I need to do more of this, So voiceover is definitely something that I would love to do more of, and not necessarily through my agency, but through, if a lot of people need voiceover for their work. So anybody listening, y'all need a voiceover actress? I wouldn't necessarily charge you $1,500. Maybe we'll talk. If you got the budget, we'll see. But I would love to be able to promote myself as a voiceover artist as well. And their audio books. I actually have a book called Single Mother's Soul, Reflections for a Joyful and Empowered Life, that I will eventually. I'm going to do that as an audio book as well. So. Any way that I can use my art, use my voice, my writing, my acting, I love to be able to promote that and to just utilize as many gifts as I can.
Hold up, wait a minute. Did you just dropped another one on us? Book in the works?
Yes. I actually have a book. I wrote it last year. It's called, I already mentioned what it's called, but I'll say it again. Single Mother's Soul, Reflections for a Joyful and Empowered Life. And it came about because throughout the years, since I've been a mom, I would say probably maybe when my son was about 6 or 7, I started just putting these encouraging notes, these encouraging posts for other single moms on my Facebook page. And over the years, people would just say, oh my God, this is really encouraging. Thank you so much. And over time, people would say, you need to put this in the book. Like, I would buy it if you put this in the book. And so last year, I said, I'm going to put these ideas and these posts, these encouraging notes in a book. So I took some of those, and what I did is I I took those ideas and I built my story around them. And so, yeah, people can go to my website, mariamawhyte.com, and they can see Single Mother Soul right there. I have a tab. They can go ahead and download it. And a lot of times when I was writing those posts, it was to encourage other single mothers, but it was really to encourage me. I might have been going through something, and they were affirmations for me that I decided to release to fellow single moms. So I just feel really, really honored that the people who have bought it have been really blessed by it. Yeah.
Well, talk to us about how this happened. Was this something that you decided that I'm just going to publish it myself so I can get it out? Or did you go through the process of finding someone who might believe enough in you to say, well, this person's work, their words may sell copies? What was it like for you to have that idea and go from having the idea of writing the book to actually carrying it out?
Got it. Well, I had always thought about it. You know, you have an idea that you're always thinking about, and even people will kind of nudge you. So people nudged me over the years. And during the pandemic, you know, I had this space. I had this space to think about what are the things that I've always thought about doing that I just need to go ahead and do. And especially as a single mom, you know, a lot of people know me as an artist, but my life is full. Even if I did not do all that I do, as a performer, as a singer, as a songwriter, as an actress, my life will be very full being a mom. And that's a huge, huge part of my life. I love being my son's mother. I love it. I love it. But it has its challenges. It has its ups and downs, you know, parenthood does, right? And so it was the beginning of last year. I told myself, I'm going to write my book this year. I don't know what it's going to look like. I had a friend who actually told me that she took a course from someone who's from Cleveland. I'm going to shout her out right now. I'm going to shout her out. Well, actually, if you go to Conscious Consulting on Instagram, Shayla Turner, she has this ebook course. It's called Ebook in 5 Days, right? And I was like, I'm going to write an ebook in 5 days. I already had the idea. So I ended up taking her course. I'm the type of person that if I have an idea, there are some things that I can just do on my own and I know I can get it done, but I had never written an ebook. What a lot of people don't know about me though, is I was an English major in college. So I am a writer to my core. I've always been a writer. Of course, I'm a songwriter, but in terms of just prose, and I love short stories, I love to read. And I said, let me take all of these stories and just write my story into this ebook. So I self-published it. It's all me. You know, they can go, when people buy it, I don't have to, you know, exchange any money with anyone else. It just comes directly to me. And the beauty of that too, at that time, I was like, you know, I started feeling like, even, you know, other than my music, what else can I do to really take ownership of? And I was like, it'll be the ebook. And I have other ideas for ebooks too. I'll probably release another ebook before the end of the year. I'm not sure about what, but I have a lot of ideas. Yeah.
Okay, so we learned something else about Mariama Whyte, and that was she was an English major. Where did you go to school?
I went to the College of Worcester, which is about an hour, 10 minutes south of here. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I've been down there a couple of times. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that you are connected to some very well-known and very prominent whites with a very distinctive way of spelling your last name, Whyte.
Yeah.
Talk about your mama for a moment.
And my mother, Dr. Donna Whyte, she's amazing. Everything, of course, that I know about being a mother, you know, I learned from my mother. But my mother, to her core, she is such a generous, giving, intelligent, beautiful, just beautiful person, beautiful woman. I remember growing up and I would just be like, Mommy, you're so pretty. And she'd be like, oh, you know, you're so smart. Because she is. You know, my mother, we moved here in Shaker. I'm from Cleveland, for people who are in and outside of Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland, but I'm from the suburb. I was raised in the suburb of Shaker. And she moved here. My mother was very adamant about, you know, where am I going to have my children? where are they going to be educated? She was very, very particular about where she wanted us to. I have an older sister as well, and an older brother who lives in New York. And my mother was the kind of mother, I feel like I've become my mother in so many different ways. She was a leader in our community. I remember just as a elementary school, she was one of our, Girl Scout leaders. And then I just feel like she was just always involved in everything that we did. She gave, was it mine or my sister's? I can't remember, like the 6th grade commencement speech. And I remember going, oh my God, that's my mom. And then when I was in high school, she decided to be on the school board. So she was the first African-American woman on the Shaker School Board. That she served from 91 to 95. And I'm just always proud of my mom. My mom worked at Cleveland. She still does, but she worked as an administrator at Cleveland State for years. And she still teaches. She teaches African American history. She teaches a Malcolm and Martin class. She is a teacher. She loves to teach, and not just academically, but that's who she is. She loves to instruct. She loves to guide. She loves to teach. And that's a huge part of who I am. I'm an artist, but I love to help people. I love to teach. And I know I got that from my mom. I got that from my mother. And my sister, Miata White Hunter, is an educator as well. So my sister, I could talk a whole hour on both of them. And of course I have my aunt, who is an amazing choreographer and director, Diane McIntyre. But my mother is just an amazing, amazing person. I feel really blessed that she's my mom, and she's not just my mother, but she has really been like a mother to a lot of my friends and into the community as well. Yes.
Well, I can remember years ago when I was a reporter at WERE, I used to encounter your mother at Cleveland school board meetings. And that was my introduction to the whole white clan. So again, you've done some amazing things, your whole family.
I have to shout out my dad. I'm sorry. I have to shout out my dad before we move on to.
Well, that's what I was getting to. Say something about Dad, because we don't want to be missing.
Right. Well, Dad's the original white. That's where we get our name from. My father lives in Columbus. And my father has had such an influence on me on so many different ways. Spiritually, my father was who really instilled faith in me. Faith, and amazing music as well. Both my parents always had music in the house. My dad played the reggae, the jazz, and the praise and worship. My mom played the soul music and the musical theater and I was an MTV kid, so I was always in rock music, all of that. So I was always immersed in music. But my father, we would go visit him in the summertime. My father taught me so much. He taught me how to play tennis. He really instilled the athleticism in me. So I was an athlete growing up. I still am. But taught me tennis. He got me into track. I played, basketball and volleyball. And he was really like the one who was like, we got to get our bodies together. We got to stay fit, and, but being Jamaican also, he really influenced my, if people, not all of my music, but a lot of my music, some of my music, you'll hear some reggae influence in there. And that comes from my dad just playing Bob Marley all the time. And still he does still. And, my dad is a special man. Love him.
Okay, well, speaking of music, we're going to take a listen to this song. This is a gift. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break right here. We're going to play some PSAs. We're going to come back, and we are going to be listening to Mariama Whyte. This is a gift right here on 95.9 FM WOVU, Bert Belcar Community Radio Station. Back with more Mariama Whyte right after this.
Cleveland, we know you have something to say. We know there are things on your mind you've been itching to get out. Call the WOVU Talkback line, 216-200-7848, and tell us what it's all about. Tell us what's bothering you. Tell us what makes you happy. Tell us what you want to hear on WOVU. call or text the WOVU Talkback line 216-200-7848. This is WOVU, our voices united. We can't do what we do without you.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 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 yeah. Trying to put my finger on it, but I can't seem to get it. All I do is overthink it. Just give it a little space and time. Give a little space and time. But I don't ever want to lose it. So I set my heart to music with a simple acoustic. Maybe it'll come to mind. And sure enough, it came my way. Just as easy as the night. I saw your face. I saw your face. I know what this is. Oh, yeah. This is a gift. And I don't know the last time I felt this way. It's true. By the look in your eyes, I can see that you're on cloud number 9 with me too. Let's take this ride, just you and I. Baby, we can make it through. 'Cause this is a gift for me and you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let me wrap my love around you. Don't wanna be without you. I'm so happy that I found you. You and me together always. Oh, 'cause in my heart there is no question that you are my blessing. And there ain't no second guessing. Nothing in the world can turn me away. So you don't have to look no more. This is the end of your search for the love you've been needing. I'm here. I know what this is. This is a gift. Oh, I don't know the last.
Welcome back. Open Door, 95.9 FM. We have been listening to songstress Mariama Whyte, her beautiful new gift to the world. This is a gift. It is a song that you can access by going to mariamawhite.com. You can also go to those other music sharing platforms. You can go to Bandcamp, break off a little bit. We'd appreciate that. I'm sure she will too. Beautiful song, and glad to hear that you're continuing to do what you're doing. In the course of our conversation, you have mentioned the pandemic a few times. It has been probably, I don't want to say a curse for some folk, but for folks who really didn't understand the energy on the planet at that time, and the fact that Mother Nature was telling us, take a time out and go within. And it seems as though that's exactly what you did. Talk about your experience through that troubled time in our country and the blessings that came from it.
Yes. Go within. That's so good. That's exactly what I did. At the time the pandemic hit, I was actually in a performance. I was in a show at Dobama Theatre called Dance Nation. And, so all of my energy was out. And of course, when everything, when everybody had to stop working, it was it took me some time to just accept what was happening. It really did. But I also realized, wow, this is a moment. Everything was quiet. It was like you would go outside and there was nobody on the street. There were no cars on. It was the oddest thing. It really felt like we were in a movie. But it was such a time too for me to just sit. I didn't have any choice. I didn't have any choice but to sit and to really listen. I probably said thank you. I was probably in more gratitude during this time than I probably ever have been in my life. And I'm always thankful. I'm always thankful for everything that life brings, for my family, my friends, and my work. But this has really been a time that I have gone within, and I've really said, Mariama, what do you really, really, really want to do? Because as a performer, and a lot of performers can attest to this, when you're out there, you know, opportunities come, you say yes. You know, can you do this? Sure, because you need the work, right? And you love the work. But that was a time where I said, what do I want my life to look like from now on? Do I want to grab every opportunity that comes my way, or do I want to create my world in a different way? And that's what I decided to do. I mean, there were some projects that I did that I never would have even thought of doing. Maybe I would have, I don't know. Like the book, you know, I said, wow, this is a space where I can, you know, create this ebook. Also for my 20th birthday in October of 2020, on my 45th birthday, I decided to put a show together. I put a virtual show together that I recorded. It was a way just for me to bring people together. I put a price on it. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have people pay for this. And and it was one of the, although we were all on Zoom together, it was such a special time, like to see people that I haven't seen not necessarily in years, but everybody was so excited to just be able to gather. Although we couldn't see each other physically, we were able to gather just around life, the celebration of life. So yeah, and I'm still working out what is my life going to look like for the next 5 years. I put a post up the other day about, some people have told me, they're like, man, you make everything look so easy. And I'm like, man, see, social media, I need to start like being really real with people, you know, because you put things out on social media and, you know, we do that to promote ourselves. But I just gave a real honest post saying, it's not easy. It's fun what I do, but all the behind the scenes and everything I'm doing for my son, everything I'm doing for my career, it's not necessarily easy. It's worth it. But I have learned that during this time too, that it's okay for me to say no. I am learning how to say no to things that maybe in a few years I'll say yes to, but right now in my life, to keep my mental health and my emotional health and my spiritual health intact, there are certain times where I have to just say no. And it doesn't mean that I'm not saying yes to it. There are other things that I'm saying yes to. I am starting to go back into my catalog, organize my files, and now I want to start looking into opportunities for TV and film for my music, not just for my face, not just for my acting, but for my music. I have so much music. I have some music that hasn't been released yet that will be released. But I'm starting to do that as well too. So although this time has been heavy for so many of us, for the world, really. I mean, so many deaths. It's been very, very hard. It's been very, very hard. Yet it's been a time for, hopefully, for all of us to really look within, be grateful for the breath, literally the breath of life that we are privileged to take every day. I feel like I am transforming. I just told one of my friends this the other day. I was like, I'm transforming. This time is really like I'm building a foundation for the next phase of my life.
Well, you mentioned being 45, maybe a year beyond that now, and it's a very pivotal point in your life because you're reaching that seventh cycle of 7. You know, when you get to the seventh cycle of 7, then that's like, okay, I'm mature, I'm ripe.
Yes,
you know. But also you talked about mental, physical, and spiritual. And I just want to underscore the importance of self-care, because one of the real issues for our sisters is that they have so many demands upon themselves that many times they don't put themselves first. And obviously, I mean, you're in great shape, so you have to be doing something to maintain that. But at the same time, you know, you have all these mental stresses that you have to deal with, and then the pressures of raising a son in an environment that's not very friendly towards young Black boys. So if you could just talk about how you are able to maintain the balance that gives you the opportunity to indulge in that self-care, to put yourself first, and then be more effective in your interactions with others.
Yes, I'm telling you, I'm learning every day. What I'm doing is I'm really intentional about, like, I'm not just thinking about what I want to do. I'm actually like doing it and finding support for it. Because the thing is, I know with me, maybe for other people, we have ideas, we have these things that we say, okay, I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to do this every day. Right? I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk every single day. But then something may happen in life, right? And then you look up and it's like 5 months later and you haven't taken that walk for yourself. Like, what happened? You know, for me, what really keeps me intact is really asking my friends and my support system to keep me accountable to the things that I say I'm going to do for myself. Not necessarily for what I'll do out there, but that too. But like, I love to walk, right? And I'll just be honest, I haven't walked I have a treadmill downstairs. It's just sitting there. I can be on that treadmill every single day. I love to walk because it helps me to clear my head. And so I told myself, I said, I need to walk and I need to ask somebody to just like really keep me accountable. Because what I'm finding during the pandemic, during this time, I don't know if you feel this, but I just feel like stuff just kind of comes at me, you know, opportunities come at me, and it feels different than it did before. And maybe it's because we have more technology. I mean, just we're moving and we're living a different way now. And so I have to be very, very deliberate and very intentional about the people that I allow into my space, into my heart, and the energy that I just, that even, the time, not necessarily energy, the time that I put into certain things. But what is really helping me is gathering that support. What used to be easy for me to do a couple of years ago, and I'll just be on it, is not so easy anymore. You know, I'm part of this mastermind now. It's like an eight-week mastermind, and it's all about joy first. So the guy who's conducting it, he's talking about joy and like learning how to be and do less, but be more and have more. Like unlearning, like this world that we live in is so about production, do. And I realized that I've been addicted to doing. Most of us are. We're addicted to doing. And so I'm learning how to just say, you know what? I don't have to do everything right now. You know, take things in chunks and allow yourself that time when you're not doing, when I'm not working or when I'm not doing, to actually be present and in the moment for when I'm not doing anything. I'm really, really like so focused on being more than doing. But what is the thing that's really helping me to continue to do that is to ask people for their support and to hold me accountable. Check in on me. Are you doing the thing? Did you say you were going to do? You know, I remember a couple of maybe about 5 years ago, I wanted to drop some pounds, and I was in shape. I was exercising, all that. It was about my food intake, you know. And there was this coaching program I did, and I had to literally like take pictures of every single thing that I ate every day, and I sent it to my coach. And within that month, I lost like 11 pounds or something like that. You know, like accountability and support is so, so important, because we can have this idea of what we want to do. But I think right now is and I feel and I see that everywhere, like support and coaching. That is really investing in people in a support group, for me, is what has been very helpful for me to maintain my self-care. Yeah.
Well, on that note, all the sage wisdom and advice process that you've let us in on. Perhaps there are others who are listening who may be able to implement some of those measures in their lives and get some real results. Mariama, it has been a joy to have this conversation with you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
I wish you success in all your endeavors, and I know that there are many, but I know that you are committed and you will make them happen by hook or by crook. Whatever you got to do, you will get the job done. Thank you for joining me on Open Door.
Thank you so much, Vince. I had such a great time talking with you today.
All right. And thank you for listening. And those of you who are watching, viewing us on YouTube, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, make today your absolute best day. Peace.